Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Bookkeeping, brought to you by Febi.ai. As we dive into the world of the unsung heroes of businesses, today we are perking up again the discussion with a focus on something fundamental yet overestimated called bookkeeping, right? With us, we have Gaurav, a dear friend of mine, a founder of Flexi Analyst. Let me put it this way, this LinkedIn guru has built and scaled many personal and corporate brands in the digital world, and especially on LinkedIn. So if you're looking to build a brand on LinkedIn, you know where to come to Gaurav. Gaurav, welcome here, buddy.
Thank you so much, Anuj.
Gaurav, so let's talk. Let's start with knowing more about Flexi Analyst. What do you guys do with them?
Okay, so Flexi Analyst is basically analyst as a service. So we have a diversification of data, quality, research, content analyst, as you just spoke about LinkedIn. So in that, like we help the brands to how to leverage the content and then how they can, with the power of analytics, can distribute it to their right customer segment. So this is basically as an analyst as a service, and this is my second company. The first venture was into the as a software development company. So now I'm just focusing on this niche and scaling it up.
I'm uh, so you are the one who loves data, right? Let's put
Yeah,
it this
right.
way. So this is going to be an interesting conversation because we're going to go a little bit more deeper about data as we move forward. So Gaurav, how large is the team?
So we are a team of 35 people spread across Noida, Pune, and the Bangalore.
And if I have to say 35 people, other than managing their salary or payroll or your sales, what else keeps you up at night?
Bookkeeping. That's
I wanted to hear that. And please, I'm not paying you to say this. Let this be
no,
on.
that is most important. You must know like what cash you have, what like if you have to do any investment, you need to look at your cash. If you need to hire someone, you need to look at your cash. Any R&D you need to do, you need to look at the cash. So this is something which is most important.
And Gaurav, you rightly brought up, right? You need cash for everything that you do. And this particular podcast is basically discussing unsung hero and one of them that we've highlighted or we've picked is literally bookkeeping, right? You have HR, you will have QC, you will have supply chain, logistics. These are all unsung heroes, right? Which are your cost centers to some extent, but also are very fundamentally important to run successful business. And give give or not, you would want to automate as much as possible, right? We are
Correct.
talking about here. And since you brought up this, which keeps you up at night, how do you do your current bookkeeping? Is it done by CA? You use a platform? How do you do that?
So currently we are using Zoho. So along with the CA, so who used to log in into the Zoho and just look at the invoices, follow up, everything is like being managed by the Zoho. So right now we are currently using Zoho.
So if I were to ask you, Gaurav, one question that if you don't have your CA with you for a second, assuming, right?
Yeah.
Would you be still able to run so?
That is something, that's why I just was exploring, considering those things. This was in my mind the last quarter. One of our like financial advisor, Harshali Damle, who used to teach in IIM Bangalore in finance. So she asked me the same question, that like how you would like manage these things if your CA is not there. At that time, like I started exploring and considering other options, and then the Febi also in my consideration list.
So thank you for having us in mind here. Um, while we'll talk about that a little more in terms of how it can help.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
generally, like you, there would be other founders also
yeah.
who want to have something streamlined, something automated, and may or may not have uh, a knowledge about accounting. While you are a guru when it comes to data analytics, but they may not, right? Or somebody may not. Someone would be specialist in that field, right? So do you often discuss this thing, or usually you are talking about growth hacks, or you're talking about LinkedIn hacks, or you're talking about scale when you're meeting with friends, or there are discussions which are non-sales related that comes when you're meeting officially
So,
or not.
so finance word discussion is normally happen when the investors are there. So they don't want to take anything except this, what you have made, what you have planning, how much cash you have in your personal bank account, in your company bank account. So those tough questions are being asked by investors. which we are now very ready every month. But yeah, normally, like I feel that there is a big gap in startups. Like I was reading a report, 35,000 MSMEs like got shut down into the after COVID. And if you look at most of them, the startups, I was just decoding with the analyst what were the reason that those got failed. So most of them like avoided the compliances, some of them avoided like the cash flow, some of them were on wrong on technology. But everything, if we look at the core, is somehow the financial, which like founders just take it very lightly, I think, and that's become a very setback. Even for me in the early stage, I did the same mistake of not considering the finance in early stage, like how the GST, how the TDS, how the compliances will happen. I was dependent on someone, and that dependent person, as you rightly said in the starting, if it's not there, then how you will manage. So that
Yeah.
is where I think AI need to be explored at this stage.
And thanks, you brought up the point of AI, and that leads to the next question for me, Gaurav, is you've seen AI changing the way the content is delivered, the way content is consumed. While I would say creator economy is largely impacted by AI in a good way, in some bad way, but largely in a good way, right? The way you are seeing content creation is very different what was done about a year back, or say
True,
6 months, right? Or even I say a month back, right?
true.
But taking that AI and fast forward it and say that if you have your chartered accountant, you have your platform like Zoho, and you want to mix or bring in AI along with it, what would it look like for you in 6 months down the lane or a year down the lane? What do you want all of this to get to do this together? What would be a vision that you would have this platform to do for you or service to do for you?
Yeah, so I will connect it with the current things which we are doing so that like it will help. So for an example, in the content side, like even we know that it's like a very good enabler for us. We used to use the AI for the idea generation. We used to use the AI for a lot of prompts and connecting it with the go-to-market strategies and all. Similarly, for the AI thing in the accounting, what we are looking is a prediction. Like what are the compliances which we need to adhere to the next quarter or the year, and the compliances which we have missed in the past, how we can like manage it online, how the GST 1 3 and other like annual quarterly GST can be managed, what is the cash flow, everything in a dashboard. Just like we work on the data analyst, we have all the analysis about the front end, about the back end things. Similarly, I think this is a very big mismatch is there in the industry. If the AI can solve this thing stuff, I think it will be a big savior for most of the early stage startups, especially for the big like scale startups. I would say in the growth, they might be having those things in place, but still, I think for them also the AI can be enabler because sometimes they miss a lot of precious information and the compliances. And we see in the last year also some big short startups have also been like faced this issue of compliances.
So, short summary, a platform that can summarize compliances for you, a
Right.
platform give you a data on which you can do decision making, which
Yeah.
could be based on sales or whatever that is. Basically, analytics in one go, and also help you do compliances. So that's really is a beyond bookkeeping for you.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Great, Gaurav, and I expected nothing less. So that brings me to the last question, and this is an express podcast, right? We'll make it quick and we'll make it fast. So
Mm.
last one, which I love the most, is what does money mean to you personally?
So that's a good question. So when I was in early 20s, it was like more freedom, the money. But now, when in 30s beginning, so I realized that like the money is now like a security for the team, for the family. As now I am like a father of two kids, so now not only the company but also about like the family. So I look at the money should be enough for everything. If I need to invest, I should have money. So I think for me, like money is all about security. Now it's changed from freedom to security.
Color hasn't changed, you become more wise. And with
Yeah,
that, thank you so much, Gaurav, for taking the
yeah,
time out and being with us on this podcast. Lovely speaking with you,
yeah,
and connect soon.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.